Hello to the Niskayuna community. Last Friday, we received the news that we won't be returning back to school this year. And I'm sure everyone was as excited to return as I was and found the news to be, although not surprising, rather disappointing. And we all need to take a moment to recognize that the year is not going to end the way that we wanted it to. Um, Especially for our this year's seniors, in particular, who are not going to have the opportunity to, celebrate those milestone events that take place. The graduation and awards assemblies, the opportunity to get together at the end of the year, dances and other social events. And I think and also not only just our seniors who are, in my opinion, the most negatively impacted by it, but our other students who are at other milestone grades, such as eighth grade and fifth grade, with awards assemblies and moving up ceremonies and celebrating, graduation from kindergarten. All of those events, I think we need to recognize the fact that there's a bit of sadness, quite a bit of sadness that comes along with that. Students want to see their friends again and be able to meet in their schools. Teachers want to be with their students and have the opportunity to say goodbye and good luck and have a great summer. Um, and we are looking and searching for ways for those events to take place one way or another. We will find a way and continue to work to find ways as a community to recognize these events and make sure that we can move forward. Because although we are sad that we are not going to be back together and celebrate the end of the year, I mean, we are glad that we will one day still be together, and there are still joyous events that need to be celebrated and will be. And we're committed to finding ways for everyone to nurture those relationships between students, relationships between students and teachers, and then relationships between all of the adults in the school. I also hope that you were able to see the video that was sent out earlier this week in celebration of our teachers and our nurses and our administrative professionals. And as we celebrate the appreciation days and weeks for all of these folks who work so hard when we're in session and even harder when we're not, to make sure that they deliver to our community everything that is expected of them. I know that our teachers and our nurses and all of our administrative professionals, miss each and every one of our students and miss seeing their colleagues and interacting with the faculty and staff on a regular basis. And it's important for you all to know that they're just working very hard and share with me on a regular basis, their desire to have us all back together sooner rather than later. It was really heartwarming, and it was great to see everyone who participated in that video virtually. And we certainly hope that our teachers and nurses and administrative professionals enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed it as well. Although, we've been informed that we're not going to come back this year. The year is far from over. It's the early part of May. We have several weeks of school left. This week we launched an additional IT support site and support for staff and families, and we hope that you're able to check out those sites. If you have questions, to contact the school. We are going to continue with remote learning to the greatest extent possible. We do understand that the remote learning experiences are very much a struggle for some folks, and other segments of the population, feel very strongly that we're not doing enough. I think it's important to remember, especially at the high school and the elementary school grades, that we don't have a one-to-one system, right? So 75% of the students that left in the high school left without devices and don't have access to remote learning opportunities as the other 25% do. So we're very cognizant of the fact that we want to make sure that we deliver the instruction from these remote settings in a manner that's as equitable as possible. We realize that everyone is going to come back at a different place, and we want to make sure that we provide just the right amount of remote instruction that keeps everyone moving forward without getting too far or too behind. And the faculty and staff are working very hard with our tech support staff and our leadership team to ensure that we're striking that balance and meeting the needs of all of our students and families going forward. We also are thinking about reopening. So, what will school look like when we reopen? And this will be a community-wide event, a community-wide undertaking. We've already created a task force, a steering committee that will oversee reopening, and there'll be several committees that are looking at reopening from various aspects, from instruction of delivery to athletics to transportation to social distancing. What will physical education look like? What will having lunch and being in the cafeteria look like? There are a lot of questions that need to be answered before we can reopen and restart the school year. And there will be several stakeholder groups that will be involved. Every stakeholder group will have the opportunity to be involved, and you'll be hearing much more about that in the upcoming days and weeks. We're focused on learning from this experience. And there are many lessons that we have learned. It's certainly about personalized learning that will carry over when we do reopen school in the fall. And also, how can we be better prepared in the event that we have to experience another closure? And there are also several other lessons about how to deliver instruction, how to conduct business. I think the fact that we're able to live stream our board meetings and conduct business that way is something that will follow us into the future, so that we can have the participation that we're having. We've had over a couple hundred people live stream our Board of Education meetings, and in several respects, we have greater participation now than we ever did, and that's a good thing. And we have to ensure that we continue those practices. And then finally, I guess before I say goodbye for now, I'd like to take time to think about the three C's, the new three C's of our future focused organizations. So future focused organizations focus on being compassionate, focus on connections, and civility. And what we've learned through this crisis is that we need to be compassionate. Everybody is in a different place. Everyone has a different set of abilities to weather these crises. And how can we make sure that we embrace everyone, our families, our students, and one another, and be understanding of one another, so we can help each other do the best that we can to advance teaching and learning in less than ideal situations. And connections, the second C. We've learned the value of connections more than ever. So we knew and learned over the past few years the need to heighten those connections through social and emotional learning and social and emotional faculty and staff. And I really am humbled by the efforts of our teachers and our counselors and our psychologists and our social workers and our administrators that are constantly reaching out to families and making those connections to ensure that everyone has what they need. The fact that we're feeding families through food service and their heroic work every day to make sure that those that need food are getting it is another way that we strengthen those connections. And finally, the third C happens to be civility. These are tough times, and in tough times, people disagree. They disagree in the best of times, but they certainly disagree in the worst of times as well. And how can we as a community come together and air our disagreements in a civil manner and move forward and strengthen this wonderful community that we have by being compassionate and strengthening our connections and being civil. So I thank you for taking the time to listen to me today. I look forward to seeing you all in person sometime, hopefully sooner rather than later. But you can be assured that you will hear from me via this method of video more often in the upcoming weeks. So have a good day, everyone. Stay healthy, be safe, practice social distancing, wear masks when you go out, wash your hands do all the things that we need to do to be responsible so that we can get together sooner rather than later. Be well. Take care.